You're never prepared for a medical emergency to change the way you live in your home, but it can. And for millions of Americans living with disabilities, it can be a challenge to find homes that fit their needs. Shortly after we moved to Idaho, my father experienced a life-altering medical event. He no longer could live in the home he had here, that is without having to make major renovations. And so began our own personal journey to find my parents an ADA-compliant home that would accommodate my father's new mobility limitations. I'll be sharing what it looks like to search for an ADA-compliant home in Boise, but also some helpful pointers on what to look for when searching for a home where you could simply age in place. That's definitely a trend that will stick around as more retirees settle on the Treasure Valley as their new home. Let me first define an ADA-compliant home. The term refers to a home that adheres to the Americans with Disabilities Act ADA standards. It ensures accessibility for individuals with disabilities, whatever that might look like for the individual. There are a number of specific requirements that need to be present in order to call a home ADA compliant, but honestly, it's rare to see all of them in one home unless it was specifically built for that individual. Some of the features might include wheelchair accessibility, wider doorways, accessible bathroom fixtures. We'll talk about each of those features in a moment. When I search for an ADA compliant home in Boise, like I said, I won't get too many results. So I will typically search new construction options if possible, so we can make necessary accommodations during the build process. But if new builds are not in the cards and we aren't finding available ADA compliant homes on the market, we'll focus on a home's structural features. What items will be difficult or more costly to modify? Some of the requirements in an ADA home may seem obvious, like a primary bedroom on the main floor, but knowing this ahead of time helps narrow our search. So I'm not dragging buyers around to look at homes that ultimately wouldn't work for their needs. And when a buyer is looking for an ADA compliant home, these usually aren't wants on a list, but rather needs. Over the past several years, I have had more and more clients searching not for ADA compliant homes specifically, but rather for homes where they can age in place. Much of the criteria is the same as it would be for an ADA compliant home, but obviously aging in place allows us more flexibility. If you've never heard that term before, aging in place refers to the ability of individuals to live in their own home comfortably and safely as they age. If they're able to plan ahead rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing facility, they're able to stay in their own home. This type of home search often involves adapting an existing home over time to accommodate changing needs. So it may not come with a zero threshold shower, but you can remodel the bathroom to have one in the near future. There are essential features in an ADA compliant home, but like I mentioned before, it's hard to find a home that has everything. So let's talk about the major requirements. First would be a zero threshold entrance into the home. Yes, this can be accomplished aftermarket with a ramp of sorts, but a true ADA compliant home will have access to the home without the use of a ramp. The home we found for my parents has a zero threshold from the garage into the home. When we built our own home shortly thereafter, we also had a zero threshold entrance installed at our garage. This way, we ensured my father is able to join us in our own home for all of our family events. But once you've crossed into the home, you need to be able to get around from room to room. So an ADA compliant home will have wider doorways and wider halls. A traditional doorway is roughly 29 or 30 inches wide, whereas an ADA compliant doorway is 32 inches wide, but 34 inches preferably. Not every room needs to have this wide of a doorway, but you need it at your entrances, like the garage and the front door, and you'll need it to at least one bedroom, if not the primary bedroom, as well as the associated bathroom. Adding wider doors and halls can be one of the most cumbersome, difficult, expensive changes to make to an existing home because they're simply not framed to accommodate the space needed. Again, reflecting on our own home build, as we were having it built, we adjusted door width from our garage into the main part of our home and into a main floor bedroom and bathroom to accommodate for my father's wheelchair. This way, if he ever needs to stay with us, we're already prepared for him. But honestly, if it weren't for my father's wheelchair and mobility challenges, we would have never thought to make these changes to our own home. Let's talk bathrooms. When we were having our own home built, like I said, we adjusted a main level bedroom with a wider door, but we also had to adjust the attached bathroom to include a zero threshold shower that was wide enough to roll into. The toilet is situated with enough space for bars and maneuverability. The walls are reinforced to handle the bars that will be installed, and the toilet itself is comfort height versus standard height, which is typically 2 to 4 inches taller than a traditional toilet. One thing that we did not install and is not found in my parents' home either is an ADA compliant sink, which would be mounted on the wall with wheelchair clearance underneath it. Although any changes cost money, changing out a vanity sink for a wall-mounted one would not be super difficult if that ever became an absolute requirement. To make a home truly ADA compliant, you need a kitchen outfitted with a floating sink as well as lowered counter heights to accommodate a wheelchair. Even in my parents' mostly ADA compliant home, the kitchen doesn't have that. Although again, swapping out kitchen islands or countertops, it might not be inexpensive, but it's doable because it's not a structural change. An often overlooked feature of making a home ADA compatible is flooring. You really want your home to have as little carpet as possible. Transitions in flooring can create tripping hazards, and carpets make maneuvering a wheelchair way more difficult. In your current home, what modifications would make life easier for someone with mobility challenges or someone wanting to age in place? Let us know in the comments below. Before we move on, hi, I'm Erica Toffel, Global Real Estate Advisor with Group 1 Sotheby's International Realty. I specialize in helping you relocate to Boise, Idaho, whether you're looking for traditional housing or ADA compliant. If you need help with any of your real estate needs, my contact information is on the screen. And please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. If you happen to be watching on your TV or computer screen, scan the QR code to contact me directly. Most builders in the Treasure Valley don't rotate ADA compliant homes through their portfolio of spec builds. Occasionally, you'll get lucky, like we did when we found the home for my parents. It was a spec home. It was mostly ADA compliant, and we could work with those features that weren't. But before filming this video, I checked our local MLS to see how many handicap accessible homes are on the market in the Treasure Valley, and I found a total of 9, ranging from $400,000 to $7 million. So quite the divide here in Idaho, but honestly, not all 9 were truly even ADA compliant. Having a walk-in shower is not the same as having a roll-in shower, especially when it's located upstairs, which is why it's important to have someone on your side who understands what ADA compliant means, if for nothing else, so that you're not wasting your time looking at homes that don't fit your needs. But let's pivot for a second here, because again, much of what my recent buyers are searching for is less about ADA compliance and more focused on aging in place, which means they want single level homes or maybe single level with an upstairs bonus room at most. They want a zero threshold shower. They want to ditch the tub for more vanity space, or maybe they want a walk-in tub. I've had a client install one of those, but just a side note, if you do, be sure your water heater is large enough to handle the capacity. In some instances, there were new builds where we could add the tub or build the shower appropriately, but in other instances, we've had to pull in contractors to make changes to existing homes. Some projects were easier than others, but again, searching for the correct type of home right out of the gate that can meet your needs is crucial. There are local resources and support for individuals with disabilities here in the Treasure Valley. The Idaho State Independent Living Council works closely with the Centers for Independent Living and other associated partners to support a stronger or more enabled independent living community. The Idaho Assistive Technology Project has a resource page that summarizes options if an individual needs help funding home modifications or other general support. There are contractors and handymen out there that are specifically equipped to help with ADA modifications. Bathroom rails are a great example. These knowledgeable contractors know how to install the proper wall anchors for bars and also have diamond drill heads for tackling shower tile. Searching for an ADA compliant home, regardless of where you live, can be an arduous task. The role of your real estate advisor should be to listen and understand what you need. Again, with an ADA compliant home, this isn't a wish list. This is a have list. So having someone on your team who can visualize those needs, think outside the box, and introduce you to home options that can meet those needs will simplify your life while removing a great deal of stress. My advice, ask. Ask if your advisor understands ADA compliant homes. Ask if there is new construction available that would meet your needs out of the gate. Ask how modifications can be achieved in existing homes you look at. The right advisor will have the answers. For more videos about relocating to Boise, Idaho, and for real estate tips in general, click on one of my other videos on the screen. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next one.